How do you do? We're about to unfold the story of Frankenstein. He's one of the strangest tales ever told. I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. Well, we've warned you.
Don't say we didn't warn you. Welcome back to the Frankenstein Minute, the podcast where we dissect the Universal Frankenstein films 1 minute at a time. I'm Bill Evenson.
And I'm Tom Lang, and we are on minute 15 of 1931's Frankenstein. We just get a little clipped bit of dialogue. Elizabeth asking Waldman to help them take Henry away.
They're coming to take me
coming
away.
to take him away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know, he's up to no good, we found out. We immediately see he's robbing graves, stealing bodies and brains. Now we found out in the previous minute last week that he's attempting to create life.
Destroy
and then create. But again, I question the destroy part.
Yes, that's definitely in question.
Yeah.
Van Sloan then does his hook, his trademark, warning people.
Yeah, I warned you.
Well,
again.
I warned you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's just like our tagline. Yeah. And I'm warning you. That's kind of his deal. He was always warning people. If you think about Van Helsing, that's kind of his deal too.
Professor Mueller in The Mummy as well.
Does he do a lot of warning in that?
He's the Van Helsing of The Mummy.
I guess you're right. Yeah, I suppose so.
You know, it's essentially the same story, and he's essentially
the
same
character. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just trying to walk through the film, and he's in the beginning, and he's okay.
Yeah.
All right, and then just like that, Elizabeth completely succeeds. She has completely driven this exactly where it needs to go.
From the minute Victor walked into her study, to now, she's gotten everything she's wanted.
Yeah. She's driven everything that's happened, and she does this last step to get Waldman to come with is based on nothing. I guess he just likes her. I don't know. She's just very insistent, and then she wins. She gets what she wants.
Maybe he's got a little thing for the ladies, and maybe he's.
That absolutely.
He's going to be macking on the hotties later, like Victor. And hopefully.
I mean, I guess you kind of do assume there's something going on there because he says, "Well, if you wish it, then I will go." If nothing else, it's a sort of a condescending. Little lady.
All right, Pumpkin.
All right, Pumpkin. All right. Now, we shouldn't make something into that isn't
really
necessarily
isn't.
there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but
she does get her. She does get her way, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
He's like, fuck that. He's not my problem anymore.
Yeah.
And then he's like, yeah, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So, she's very persuasive.
Very persuasive.
Yes. Then there's the long fade out, and there's a scene that is in all of the scripts that's missing that I assume was not shot as they're in a carriage headed from Goldstadt to wherever this watchtower is, outskirts of Goldstadt. And it's almost a little bit like the coach in Dracula. Is that they're approaching the Weisenberg. They're approaching the Weisenberg. And there's a big deal made about I'm not taking you there.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost like the Borgo Pass.
The Borgo Pass.
And I looked it up, and it's the Palatine Forest in Germany. It's the highest summit in the Palatine Forest in Germany, and there is an old watchtower on top of it.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah. Looks nothing like what we'll see in a few seconds.
Yeah.
But it's there, so it's odd that they wrote the scene and then cut it.
What it tells me is one of the things that's interesting about something that oftentimes you'll find writing or any kind of work that involves writing that has movies or whatever that become very popular that have little touches that are based in reality.
Yeah.
What you'll find sometimes is somebody will do something. The one I always go back to is Monty Python, thinking there's no way Monty Python's Flying Circus can work in America because it has all these references to British.
Yeah.
And so in this case, you've got a reference to something very specific. Someone probably knew that this was a thing.
Was a thing,
wrote it in there, and then went, well, let's cut that out. And it works better because that happened. You know what I mean?
It almost
whoever wrote it then had that reality.
Yeah, it almost reads like a Monty Python moment. The Weisenberg, dun dun dun.
All right, well then I guess I'm glad it's gone, especially
Borgo
because I like
Pass.
this no music score on this.
Right?
One. I would hate
Yeah,
it if
yeah. They had that
suddenly
one sting in there. It just ruins it.
Kind of ruin it a bit.
Yeah. And it, it's again a purely expository scene, completely superfluous. It didn't need it.
Yeah.
I assume it was never even shot.
Okay.
It's
Makes
in the
sense.
shooting script, but
it made it that far.
made it as far as the shooting script. It's not in like continuity, and it's certainly not in the finished film.
Yeah.
So.
And the film is better off for not having.
Yeah, it's stuff like that
specific
would
place
bog it
defined.
down. Yeah, it sort of gives it this sort of nebulous where, when, doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Agreed. Instead, what we get is a fade out and a fade in to a tower.
It's a great model shot. Yeah.
Yep. Fritz is on the top, and then then a shot of Fritz on the
Fritz
top.
on the top,
And then a shot to the interior. We should
Yeah.
talk about all those things, but I think it's
Yeah.
interesting because Whale does so many different things that are 3 or 4 shots.
Yeah. Boom,
And
boom,
what
boom.
we've
That's
seen in the
you see
past-
that in all the way through to Bride.
Mm-hmm.
You see that. It's
Yeah.
a very Whalian thing
It's
to
got
do.
it's got
rhythm.
like a rhythm
Yeah.
to it. Here's
One,
a second of this, or 2, maybe 3, whatever. Yeah. And this one goes
Model
the
shot.
opposite of the last one we saw, which was a close-up,
Close up,
a
close up,
close-up,
close
a close-up,
up,
and you go, where the hell am I?
Yeah.
This is an establishing shot,
Wide, yeah.
a further establishing shot, another kind of, they're all
Yeah.
establishing shots.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. No, it's great. And it's a great model.
And as you say, it's a
It's
miniature.
a great miniature. It looks cool
gorgeous.
though. It's got a lot of depth. I'm assuming it was fairly large because of the way the trees are blowing in the wind.
Yeah.
Stuff like that's hard to miniaturize in the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
As it recedes in the background, things get less distinct,
Right.
as it would.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the rain and wind blowing, and it's a great little shot.
Yeah.
The shot of Fritz on the tower, I can't quite tell if that's an actual full-size set.
Kind of looks like it.
It looks like it, or I wonder if it's what they call a hanging miniature, where there's a miniature placed in front of the camera. It's like a forced perspective, and then he's
on
30 feet
he's on
back on a scaffolding.
Yeah.
That to me would make more sense, but the way the lightning strikes on it, it's all synchronized really well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There's a shot coming up later too that I'm not quite sure if it's the real deal or if there's some trickery.
Okay.
It's just that well executed that and usually these things in these early 30s are kind of clumsily done.
Mm-hmm.
This looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The fact that we don't know.
Yeah.
Leads to that.
Yeah.
Now he's up there with a robot. It kind of looks like a robot.
Robot.
It looks like a little robot.
I guess so.
He's got a little head.
Yeah,
maybe little arms on
I
the
guess I
side.
never thought of that.
But so that's it. Kind of looks like a
I
robot.
guess, yeah.
To be honest, I was watching it, and Jackie came in and said, "Is that a robot?"
Oh, all
I'm like, "No,
right.
it's not a robot." So
Well,
it makes it into the podcast.
Yeah.
So then, but what's interesting about that is even that is part of the reveal, which is, well, who's this and what's? Well, not who's this. We know who that is.
We know who that is.
But
What
there's
is he doing?
What is that? What
what
is
is he
that?
doing
There's just
up
a little
there?
thing up there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom! The next shot
is this.
There's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a very vertical set, and I can't help but think that the square, the Academy ratio,
Academy aspect, yeah.
gives you that flexibility to film a scene like this, which probably look great in IMAX, but not so great
much in
widescreen.
widescreen. Yeah,
It's a very vertical.
It is a very
set.
vertical set,
and we've seen other vertical sets already.
the
With
hallway.
the hallway is the one that springs to mind.
The lecture hall.
The lecture hall, but the lecture hall might work better, good in widescreen.
It would work good in widescreen.
But in this case, it's absolutely a vertical
totally
set.
is. Yes,
and
it's a tower, so
it's a tower,
Yeah.
and we're going to see some more vertical stuff going on. So I think, it's the square. Don't write off the square.
No.
I love the widescreen, obviously.
Well, have you seen like Grand Budapest Hotel?
I haven't.
Oh, I love Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
And it's set in, I think, 3 time periods.
Okay.
But for each time period, it has the aspect ratio
Of that time period?
Yeah, like the stuff currently is like 1.85.
Okay.
Like the screen.
Yep.
Then it goes like to the 70s, and it's a widescreen, like CinemaScope.
235.
Yeah, 235, and then in the stuff in like the 30s or whatever, it's 370.
133.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's brilliant.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, I
and
don't know why I
it's
haven't seen that.
subtle.
Yeah.
You don't. It doesn't take
It doesn't
you out
sound
of it.
subtle when you say it.
No, it
Okay,
doesn't.
so
But
that's cool.
it doesn't take you out of it.
I guess it's possible. There are some films that do change aspect
Mhm.
ratio, and you don't necessarily know.
Dr. Strangelove apparently was supposed to.
Yeah.
And when they first put out the first Criterion Laserdisc, it changed. And very jarring. It's what Kubrick wanted.
Okay.
And once he died, they're like, yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. When Kubrick died, what he wanted from home video, was that, well, there you go, specifically aspect ratio, because what was the...
Well, Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket is the one that you go, there you can see the boom mics.
Yeah,
and shit. Yeah. So what he wanted, it's not
That
always
was-
necessarily all about what the
yeah.
Or maybe he wanted that. Maybe he
Maybe
wanted boom
the
mics only on
artifice.
home video
Yeah.
of Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with no on that.
Yeah,
But yeah, this it's a very vertical set.
It is a very vertical set. And we'll see a lot of it. And when they revisit it in the sequel, it's even more vertical. It is huge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you compare a still of the two,
Yeah.
you know, it's the same setting.
Yeah.
But again, like the film itself, everything is bigger.
Cool.
This has the starkness, the expressionist sort of quality. The sequel has that sort of fairy tale, bigger than life, grander.
And I think we spend more time in it, right?
We spend-
It seems like it. Maybe not. Now you say that, maybe not.
No, I don't. It's about.
But it's grander. There's music and all that stuff.
Yeah, everything. Again, everything about it is bigger.
Yeah, it's bigger. Yeah.
And actually, in the script, they reference it looking like the lab from Metropolis. It's actually called out by name in the script.
Well, that's who that is up on the roof. Then that's the robot.
It is. It's Maria, the robot from.
Metropolis. Could be.
Could be.
Probably not. It looks a little bit more like Robbie. To be honest.
Or Gort.
Gort. Yeah.
But yeah, and I think also a film I told you to look at was The Magician from 1926.
Yeah.
That has the benefit of being shot on location in France because it's silent. So it's a real castle that they were shooting in. But you can definitely see an influence there on how this looks.
So the interior of the castle is
the lab. It's like he's an alchemist and like a hypnotist, and the story makes no sense. It's whatever, but visually it's got some cool stuff.
Okay.
And yeah, the ending takes place in his laboratory, and it's a real castle that they shot in. But there you get the dwarf assistant. He's actually a dwarf, and there's all these influences pulled together. What's the movie that we remember the most?
Yeah,
it's this one.
Well, that's what I was saying about Citizen Kane, right?
Yeah.
Wells would tell you, I didn't do anything that didn't come before.
Yeah.
But it's
how you use it.
And the style and skill that you put into it.
Right.
Absolutely. This film is remembered because John Bowles is in it.
That's right.
Well,
the Blu-ray I have, his name is above the title. So I don't know where you got yours, but
well, I have the same Bowles box set that you have.
Okay, yeah.
One of my, I'm just gonna say, at random moments throughout this film, one of my favorite lines, because I've already said it once already in the last couple of weeks, is hello.
Hello.
That's so great. Fritz!
Hello.
It's great.
Yeah. I think they let Dwight Fry ad lib an awful lot.
Yeah.
Because there's little things like that aren't really in the script. We talked about weeks ago, it seems like years ago, we talked about when he's climbing out onto the hangman to cut the body down, and here I come, here's the knife, look out.
Look out.
Yeah. Here he comes. All that sort of stuff.
Right. And not something that Renfield would have done.
No.
So at this point, that's what I have to go on, is this actor was
Renfield, yes.
And I mean, I know a little bit of what he does after this, but he's one of the best things about Dracula. Now, to go back to Dracula, I'll defend it, is the Renfield in Dracula is awesome to me. I really like what he does in that. I even like when he hasn't gone crazy yet.
Oh, and at the beginning?
Yeah, at the beginning. He's like, but I don't, this should be, what's the big deal?
Yeah.
The Borgo Pass, I don't give a shit.
Well,
This is fine.
At least it's not the Weissenberg.
That's right. Yeah, that's the really scary place.
You don't want to go to the Weissenberg.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, hold on a second. I didn't sign up for this.
Nobody's mentioned. Well, then something happens behind him. He says hello. And there's like
that's right. There's
a metallic
crack,
sort of clunk or crack.
Does not seem like lightning, but presumably is meant to be.
I don't think so, because there was no flash before.
I thought there was a flash. Okay.
No, it sounds like it's something one of the machines or something had done something.
I mean, actually reacts to it.
Yeah, reacts to it, but Henry doesn't.
Do you think?
And it might have been an accident.
But it's an accident?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess.
Because it's really...
I did notice that he did that.
it's like the dog barking earlier that that has to be deliberate. This
Yeah.
I'm not so sure.
Right. Not necessarily.
Yeah. And he's way up there, up by the rafters, I would think, of the soundstage.
Yeah, he's
Because that's
probably-
like 30, 40 feet up there.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And so, he's right up there. So, could have been something, lighting equipment or something. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I suppose there's people up there.
Yeah,
Well, when you mentioned lighting,
grips up there.
that's
and,
one of the issues with. Well, that's one of the things they say about Citizen Kane. Sorry to go back to it.
No.
It's about lighting. That's
Yeah.
why things tend to fade out into the background more. Well, and generally in life,
Yeah.
things fade out in the background more because there's not enough
Not
light.
enough light.
So he's got to be pretty well lit up there. That's very
That
deliberately
set
lit.
had to be enormously hot.
Yeah, right.
It's huge. All the light that would take to fill that. And it's not, it's shadowy,
Mhm.
but it's not dark.
Right.
So, yeah, that had to be a lot
All
of
of
light.
it had to be lit.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
again, 30, 40 feet up. That's a
Mhm.
big set.
Maybe he got burned. Maybe he bumped into a light. There's probably big. And what were the lights like back
Oh,
then?
there's
It's
these
probably
huge, they were
huge
called
burns.
Klieg lights. They were these big,
Hot.
you've seen them, they're smoking and,
Yeah.
can't have been fun.
So then Henry asks, Fritz, are you done with those connections? Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, I got it.
What the fuck are you doing up there? Like, I can't make up my mind about. I can't make up my mind about Fritz because he's kind of mean to him, but he maybe kind of deserves it. Like, what are you doing up there?
What?
Are you just fucking around?
Yeah.
You playing with your robot up there? Put the robot away.
Put Gort away.
We're trying to do something here. God damn it. If I just had, a real legit assistant,
paid
a buxom assistant that I wanted.
$bucks more an hour, might have gotten.
God, I guess, you get the...
You can't get good help.
You can't get good help
nowadays.
anymore.
Yeah.
You get what you pay for.
Yep. Yeah, Henry is very well. I assume at this point, this is leading up to what he's been working on for we don't know how long, at least 4 months, more than that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's a little on edge, tense, a little terse,
Definitely.
little uptight.
And we'll see a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
As we go
So
forward.
I don't blame him for being get your ass down here.
Yeah.
The fuck are you doing up there?
What's going on here? Do I have to do this myself?
Yeah, I might as well. Like Victor in the book.
Yeah. There's no dwarf.
There's no dwarf. And then we get a long couple of. Henry goes. He's mixing some stuff,
Mhm.
which I think is a subtle reference to the alchemy.
Right. I thought about that one.
Yeah.
You're talking about that.
Yeah,
one.
it's because
Watch it.
he puts something purple into something clearer or whatever.
Yeah.
And does it, and then I suppose I better go hold the rope for this schlep. But we get a long panning shot, or tilting shot rather, of Fritz climbing down the rope. And I think Mel Brooks did it better.
Isn't that in the next minute?
Well,
he doesn't actually make it down.
He doesn't make it all the way down.
Oh, okay.
But
It
cuts in between the two. But he's like, it's this long. Whereas in Young Frankenstein, of course, he's right next to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you.
There you
What are
go.
you
Yeah,
shouting about?
Yeah. Well, this probably to kind of attempt to show off the set a little bit.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure it was enormously expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And again,
Right on Universal Studios. All this is on Universal Studios
it's
backlot.
stage, whatever it was, and and this scene is where the play script begins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, and so you get a lot when all these other characters eventually
that's
show
terrible.
up. Yeah.
That would be terrible.
Oh, there's all this talk,
Wouldn't be terrible,
talk.
I guess. But yeah, okay.
But there's like a page and a half of just Henry, more or less talking to himself, talking to Fritz, saying what he's doing, kind of setting it up, which in a play you can do. It would have been awful in a movie.
Yeah.
Some guy wandering around. Okay, now I mixed this right the last time. Now it's not right, or whatever. And like, okay.
Just people from the audience shouting out, 3 parts purple!
Yeah.
No.
But it's interesting because, and then of course Victor and Waldman show up, not Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
And they talk and talk and talk and talk. And then you get all of what we've seen in the past 15 minutes.
Okay.
Sort of exposition. Which again, in a play, fine. You're confined to a set.
Yeah, you're saving money.
Yeah.
And time, I guess.
Yeah,
tear down the set.
No, it's how you'd have to do it in a theatrical setting.
Let's do it. When are we doing this?
All right,
We
I got a barn. You got
We're gonna do
a
it.
trunk of costumes. Let's go.
So Al, it's got to be. Is your barn in Chaska? 'Cause there's gotta
We'll
be-
find one. We'll get one in. There's got to be.
I'm Waldman. I don't care what you say.
What does that
Let's
make, what
put
does that
on a
make
play
me?
that we know we don't like,
Yeah, there we go.
just to show them.
Just fuck them.
Fuck them if they can't take a
That's
joke.
right. Follow us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Belong dead.
Prepare for a spine-tingling, nerve-shattering podcast featuring all your favorite monsters. You won't believe your ears when you listen to Monster Kid Radio. Hear your host, Derek M. Cook, and his ever-rotating stable of guests discuss your favorite classics and sometimes not-so-classic monster movies. Subscribe to Monster Kid Radio through iTunes or Stitcher, or visit monsterkidradio.net before the next weekly episode of Monster Kid Radio. Go through the archives for interviews with Sarah Karloff, Victoria Price, and Joel Hodgson. Listen to discussions about movies like Creature from the Black Lagoon, Island of Terror, and King Kong. And don't forget convention coverage from Monster Bash and the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival, Classic Monsters, Modern Talk, and the Head of Rondo Hatton, only on Monster Kid Radio.